Hey everybody, it's SVG Plays, back in Task Force Admiral. So today, I'm going to test out a hypothetical scenario, a 3v3 Brawl in the Coral Sea. So, how does this get put together? What I'm going to do is put together in the battle generator. This is the Coral Sea generator, of course, for now, so you can add a bunch of different assets. I'll really jump right to it, but I'm going to add in 3 CVs. So, Yorktown, Enterprise, and Hornet, all the Yorktowns. These are the midway assets which we'll use for this scenario. So hypothetically, we're going to say that Yorktown was joined by Enterprise and Hornet. In real life, Hornet and Enterprise did the Doolittle raid in April, got back to Pearl Harbor in late April 1942, and barely missed the Battle of the Coral Sea. For this scenario, when you use these assets, you can't use Lexington. So hypothetically, in this scenario, Lexington is just not available. So the 3 Yorktowns against the 2 Shokakus. But what I'm going to do as well in this scenario is make it 3 CVs. So the Shokakus, Shokaku, Zuikaku, and then also Kaga. In real life, Kaga grounded herself, I think, in February 1942 and missed out on a lot of actions up to Midway. So in real life, she was repaired in May. So in this scenario, and there's also another scenario in this game that you can have Kaga at Coral Sea. So I'm adding her as well. I'm going to make it really interesting. I'm going to make sure that we don't know where the Japanese carriers are. I'll leave everything else as normal, but let's just jump right into it. So 3 CVs, enemy air and our air are just good. Random threat axis, 3 CVs per side. The wind is going to be random. I always like to do that. And then cloudy to help hide any carriers. So let's just jump right in. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're jumping right into this. We're broken out into Task Force 17 with Yorktown and Task Force 16 with Enterprise and Hornet. So let's check in. As always, we right click, go through. I like to add all these. Our wind is coming from northwest to southeast. So we're going to be moving towards the northwest anytime we need to take off or land plane. If planes are taking off or landing. So let's say we're going to move Task Force 16 to the west. Let's move up and then move. I always like to go with the wind. I use it unless we know where they actually are, the enemies are. I just travel with the wind. And of course we can go back and figure out what we need to do on the back end in terms of, combat aircraft and stuff like that. But for the sake of when we're randomized, I always just like to go with the wind so we can always move and we're not changing direction away from the wind. All right, so we set up our directions right off the bat, so the fleets are going to be turning. It's at 5 o'clock in the morning, so first thing I'm going to do is set up searches. When you use the midway assets, you get access to the cruisers, seaplanes from each task force, so 16 and 17. I like to use these instead of the SBDs. In real life, SBDs would more likely be used, but I'm going to take advantage of the scenario in the game. So what we're going to do is we're looking all 360 degrees. The one problem with these SOC biplanes, these float planes, they are a lot slower than a combat SBD. So, we get a lot more of these, and the trade-off is we get to use SBDs for our combat, more for combat. However, these planes are slower, so the Japanese may find us first. But I don't have to sacrifice those combat planes. So that's kind of the trade-off. So I'm going to use 6 planes. Okay. I'm also going to set up Task Force 17 planes. Little bit of a smaller circle. I don't know why that happens, to be honest. It's probably less planes. I don't really know. But I can't go. Oh, wait, I can go like this. That's silly. All right. So Task Force 17 is also sending planes. We have a lot less. I think we're gonna probably be within this range. Okay. Perfect. Next thing I'm gonna set up is cap, because one thing I've been struggling with in this game, and that's just me, maybe it's just me personally, is my cap setup. So I've come across Japanese scouts. They always get by me for some reason, and I have my planes pretty far out. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna test this out, and of course, let me know in the comments if folks have been figuring this out better than I have. I'm gonna probably make 4 cap boxes, and then I'm just gonna keep it 2 plane flights, 13,000 feet. Make a second one, make it around the same size. I'll do these quickly because I got to do Enterprise and Hornets as well. And I could, this could mess me up. I've had issues with cap before, just missing Japanese planes that just go right through my cap, or they sneak around it and then they find me and I already have a lot of planes up and it just doesn't make any sense. There's no right or wrong, but I mean, if anyone has any comments on how to better do this, let me know. I've been messing around with a couple different options, but I think this should be okay. Let me slow time down actually, so I can focus on this a little bit more. All right, we'll do this. I can edit. Actually, it's great. You could just edit these. Maybe I'll just make these boxes like this, and they kind of do like a... They kind of overlap each other. It looks cool, but is it effective? I don't know. This might be effective. Okay, everybody has 2 planes. Okay. I'm going to do the same with Enterprise and Hornet as well. As you'll see, they are using F4, F4s. So in this scenario, the Wildcats are not F4, F3s, the original version of the plane. These are the upgraded version, which come in really, I think they come into service in April 1942, but they're not widespread on carriers until late May. So I know the Battle of Midway was really the first time they were used, I think. The difference between these Wildcats, so an F4, F4 is a version of the plane that has 6 machine guns instead of 4. And it also has folding wings, which is, makes things a lot easier. You can add a bunch more F4F Wildcats to your carrier, so you can have a larger fighter group. However, there is a however. The plane was not upgraded in terms of, engine power. There's a little bit more armor on the plane, the folding wing mechanisms, and the 2 extra guns. So there's less room for bullets per round. So per gun, I think there's not a lot less rounds, but it makes I'm going to say the amount of time on target less. You have a lot more guns, but you have less target time, which a lot of pilots apparently didn't really like. So a lot of people just liked more of the F4, F3. I can go more into it, but I'm kind of just like doing 2 things at once. I can talk a little bit more about it once things are kind of set up. So we're going to split 2 between Enterprise and Hornet. Hopefully this cap is okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. We'll speed things up a little bit. Okay. It's kind of not the same, but all right. Let's go back to the world. So we have things set up. As I was mentioning, the Wildcats, they had, so the F4F3s had 4 guns. You had 450 rounds, I think, per gun. So you had 1,800 rounds. And I think on the F4F4s with 6 guns, it came out to 1,400 rounds. I think 1,460 rounds, maybe. I play a lot of War Thunder, so like the counts are in my head. So those are the differences between the planes. Going into the ships themselves, so in real life, there's only one time where all three were in battle. That's the Battle of Midway, so all the Yorktowns were together. This is the first time on this channel we're seeing Enterprise and Hornet. So Enterprise, of course, CB6 is the most famous of the Yorktown class. She lasted throughout the entire war. She had 20 battle stars, 21 or 22, or, there was a couple that were contested or, thought that she actually had. But she did miss the Battle of Coral Sea, which is the largest naval engagement that she missed out on. She got hit by kamikaze in Okinawa right before the end of the war, which kind of ended her career. She was, if she was transiting back to the Pacific, or she was still in dry dock in September 1945, but she was not saved. Unfortunately, she was scrapped in 1958 after a long period of, people were contesting if she'd become a museum ship. Museum ships weren't really a thing back then. Unfortunately, she was scrapped in 1958. We'll also have Hornet. Hornet was commissioned in October 1941, was still in fit out during Pearl Harbor, and then eventually in service in 1942. She, of course, did the dual raid, as I mentioned earlier. She missed the Battle of the Coral Sea barely, and then was a big part of Midway. We could talk about that when we do a Midway episode, but pretty much her flights at Midway, her torpedo squadron made it to the Japanese the Kido Butai. Her dive bombers never made it. I can't remember exactly, but there's a flight to nowhere. There's this whole controversy behind Hornet. She was, very small part of Battle Midway, even though she was there. Battle of Santa Cruz was where she sank in October 1942 off Guadalcanal. She was with Enterprise, but she was hit and battered, and she sank in October. So she actually had the shortest career of the three Yorktowns, and actually one of the shortest careers for a fleet carrier in the U.S. Navy. But we get to see her here in her actually a really cool livery. Your gray with your dark blue stripes. And of course, we have Yorktown. This is we're going to call her the veteran of Task Force Admiral. We've been using her a lot. Personally, one of my favorite carriers. I just love reading about Yorktown and, the miracle in Midway, her being damaged during Coral Sea, making it back in time, getting fixed in the yard in 3 days, sent off. Not all our boilers were working. Only could do 27 knots. She had, civilians on board during Midway. She got hit twice during the Battle of Midway, of course. 2 or 3 times? I can't remember at the top of my head, but the Japanese thought she was a different carrier more than once. So they actually thought they hit a couple of the Yorktown class, but they kept hitting Yorktown. She was abandoned after I think the first bomb hits midday, Battle of Midway, but she was hit by torpedoes later in the day. And then eventually she was sunk a couple days later by I-168, and also the destroyer Hammond as well with her in June 1942. All right, so back to the game. So the cap is off. Our float planes are off. We're looking at 360 degrees. We are going to hope that our float planes can find these carriers ASAP. In this scenario, when you have 3 carriers, the Shokakus will be together somewhere in the map. However, Kaga will be somewhere else. So we need to make sure, and they're going to be separated. They're not going to be like as close as TF 16 and 17 are. They are going to be separated by like maybe 100 miles. So the strategy comes into play here as well. Like, who do we go after first? Do we send all of our strike planes after one set of carriers or not? Because these are fleet carriers we're fighting. They have full complements and they send multiple waves. So we just need to keep that in mind. Now that the scout planes are off, what I'm going to do is set up strikes. Typically what I do, just because I don't know how far they're going to be away, I'm going to set up one carrier. I'm going to set up Yorktown with a full strike of dive bombers. However, there's a big however. I'm not going to add torpedoes because I don't know how far away they are. If I load up with torpedoes and it's too far away, I have to scrap the mission and restart. And especially if they find us, we need to be sending planes off ASAP. So I'm taking a risk. I'm going a little lighter. So we're going to start with that. So Yorktown, I'm going to green light early spotting. All right. Same thing with Enterprise. I'm going to do that right now. We're going to do Enterprise. Actually, Hornet. Hornet has more fighters. Enterprise and Hornet have the most fighters left. Because Yorktown has a full cap by herself. So Enterprise, I'm going to send, same thing. I'm going to send 15 dive bombers from each of the squads. I'm going to send, I'll send 12 F4Fs with them. Same thing, early spotting. I'm going to green light this. And then my concern is that the Japanese carrier planes will find us first. I have pretty decent caps. I mean, and realistically, their boxes are going to be, if I look at the cap real quick. That's cap. TF-16. I mean, they're running a course of, forget contact. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, that's 13 miles at the closest. That's 59 miles at its maximum. So hopefully, I mean, usually you spot up, I think the game is like it's 25 nautical miles they can see, a search plane can see, if I can remember correctly. So I think we're okay. I mean, we have pretty big cap circles. I'm just worried they're going to be, we're going to get caught in the middle. Yeah. Okay. And then Hornet, I'm also, I think I'm just going to prepare a strike from Hornet as well. Let's do that now. $15. I'm going to do 12. We're not going to use torpedo bombers at first. Deferred departure. Also, there's enough cap planes up. I think we literally have 16 fighters up. If anything does come, I'm not going to send out a scramble. What I'm going to do is if they catch us first, I know our planes will find them. However, I need to get these planes off the deck ASAP. So then I can send up a scramble. Because I've played scenarios before where you just forget to send up a scramble and you have a whole, or some carriers you forget to send up a scramble, while some you do, and it's detrimental to the fleet, especially with so many carriers. So we don't know where they are yet. Let's speed up a little bit. And they're definitely going to report us. They're going to report us. If they can catch, I mean, this is probably, I mean, they don't have to see the carrier. They have to see the task force. 19 miles away. Yeah, they're going to report us. And our planes are taking a while. They're going to report it. Okay. Yep, we've been. So every minute that goes by, they're getting their planes ready. I need to figure out ASAP. They only see 16. So if we catch Shokaku or Zuikaku, I'd like to send both off. I'm a little nervous that, okay, it's been 5-6 minutes. I mean, it takes probably 10-15 minutes to get planes spotted. Maybe 20 minutes. They spotted us. Okay, let's see. Where are our scouts? If we don't find it by 7:30, I'm going to be a little concerned. Because they're going to be sending strike planes, and I'm not going to have carrier fighters up yet. We're just gonna have to hope. And they're also going the other direction too. They literally could be here, and I don't know. Yep, you're probably in trouble. I preloaded all these planes. I should have just sent off a scramble. Can I send off a scramble with a deck loaded, though? That's gonna be... No, because we have planes up here already. This is not gonna be good if we just need... I just need to send these planes off. Is this one plane? Is this one ship or multiple ships? I'm gonna check because there is a destroyer by itself. But where is the carrier? Uh-oh, I see Japanese planes. Is this Shokaku? Yep, gotta send him. Gotta send him right now. And good thing I had it on more of a lean setup because this is very far. This is 430 nautical miles away. This will be impressive, actually. All right, and then they're so far away that I want to send up Cap right away. Or what's it called? Our scramble right away. So we haven't found Kaga though. We should be finding her shortly. So what my thinking is that Hornet and Enterprise will deal with the Shokakus, and Yorktown will deal with Kaga. Ideally. And I wish I can I can probably look into the FDO for our fighter direction, and I might jump on each. They have it set to automatic, but I might jump into each and take control. So Yorktown is only dealing with Kaga contacts. Kaga's contacts are probably going to be, I don't know where she's going to be. She could be over here. I mean, it's a very, I probably should have added another plane. Let's see. So Yorktown or Hornet, I'm going to get her planes on the flight deck, her fighters at least. TBDs. Okay, I'm just looking at storage too. It's actually pretty cool. You can look into the storage bins. I'm going to throw more fighters. We definitely need fighters. All fighters to the flight deck. They're prepping this other plane. These other guys. Yorktown, we have a lot more TBDs we can throw too. Where is Kaga? We have... I mean, she could be anywhere. This is actually one of the farthest trips I've seen for carrier planes. I mean, they're going to make it back. Unless they run away. Let's see. Speed this up. I might have missed Kaga. I mean, if we start seeing planes come in from a certain direction, I know the Zuikaku is going to come from this way. But if we start seeing like planes come, because technically Kaga should know too where Task Force 16 is. I might just send up the fighters now. And I'm going to go to the FDO for Task Force 16 and scramble the fighters. There we go. Is Kaga over here? Kaga must be over there, because Shokaku's planes would come directly. Well, good thing my cap is going up. Let's see where our search was. And maybe this guy is probably going to find Kaga. Let's see if they're all still alive. I mean, she's sitting above the Japanese fleet. This guy. Yep, sees 2. We're gonna hope this guy runs into Kaga. Hopefully he finds him. Becker. Yeah, these are pretty cool too, these slow planes. A lot slower than an SBD or a TBD. But I can send a lot more out without risking or sacrificing my strike group. I mean, we got lots of fighters for 20 aircraft, and there's probably going to be another set coming. And we keep hearing our FDOs shooting out some orders. Okay, our cap is off. Let's see. One thing I wish, and this is just a preference. You're reading through the comms and it's like green leader. Like, well, who is green leader? Is it a certain cap? That's something I'd like to know more about. Or, oh, getting hit by 0. Yeah, he's probably done for. The F4F, though I love it very much, was not the best against the 0, and tactics came in really after Battle of Midway. I think that might be put in. Yeah, he's out. Yes, he's ditching. Yeah, and he's very far away. Sad. Yeah, the Love leader, Roger leader, like who are these specifically? Yeah, the Kaga's over here. It has to be over here, because this is the strike group from Shokaku and Zuikaku. And I would like to send Yorktown's planes up, but I can't yet because they're blocked by a strike. We are gonna. Well, the good thing is if we take out a lot of these planes right now, we might be in really good shape, because the Kaga, Shokaku, and Zuikaku won't be able to fight back if we just completely wipe out their entire group. Where is this guy? I really hope he can find him. Because now my fighters are fighting against 3 carriers, and I have not found Kaga. Where is our strike? Okay. So I'm going to pause here. Just going to split this episode up into 2 because it's a longer battle. But I'll catch you guys in the next video. We're going to conclude the battle. Hopefully our carriers don't get hit too hard. If our cap can save the carriers. And then my strike is heading towards Shokaku and Zuikaku. and we're still looking for Kaga. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.